I'm very sick and it's Andreas' fault because he thought it was a good idea to blast the air condition on full. Now I get that it's very warm this summer, but now I have a cold.
It's not my fault the sun exists.
Well, at least you could understand how air condition works. That would have helped me a lot because currently I'm dying. Anyways, today we're gonna talk about a book that I actually like in fantasy. Which is rare. Because one of the most toxic things in society right now is the patriarchy. Now I hear a lot of anti-feminists already groaning at the idea, but those are institutions that really limit women and their abilities, either by what is expected of them or the role they are supposed to serve in society. Maybe both of those mean what is expected of them, but whatever. So what if I were to tell you that there was a series written basically about women punching the patriarchy? Written by a man. Yeah, I know, but he tries. This is Dragon Apocalypse by James Maxey. In a world where the elements are controlled by dragons, one woman, known as the Black Swan, knows that one day in the near future the dragons will converge together and destroy humanity, causing the Dragon Apocalypse. This is a story about her attempt at avoiding the Dragon Apocalypse happening altogether. Now that might seem like an oversimplification over the story, but as a matter of fact, it's just the way the story is if you boil it down to its root, because there's 4 books here that are vastly different. For instance, the way the story is even told is vastly different. You got the 4th book, which has multiple perception characters that tell the story. You have the 3rd book, and I know it's weird that I go backwards, but I'll get to why. 3rd book is just one character, and the 1st and 2nd book are actually kind of amazing. Why? Because the 1st and 2nd book has a ghost narrator. And that's great. A ghost narrator who, like, he can't read people's mind, but he still has personality, but he can't interact too much. All of that combines into kind of like, he's curious, he can't get everything that people are telling other people, because he gets dragged away by people who have power over the magic of the ghosts. I'll get more into the ghosts later. Having a ghost narrator is a brilliant move. It's also brilliant that he dies in like chapter 2 of Great Shadow, the 1st book, which is hilarious. And it's not like those books that are like, I'm the next George R.R. Martin because I kill people, bet you didn't see that coming. No, death actually has meaning in these books. Unlike all those people who try to be the next George R.R. Martin, I should know because I've tried to be cringy teenage years. Another thing that this book does really well is world building. There's always just enough information for you to care about the story, and this is in all the books, not just the 1st and 2nd one, even though, you know, it's cooler that they have a ghost narrator. What can I say? I'm a sucker for cool stuff like that. Anyways, the world building is like just enough so you care about the story and you kind of have a grasp on what it is, but never enough to actually make you think that it's bogged down with detail. It's just kind of like, yeah, I get that there's more here, but this is what I need to know. It's really neat. And one of the neatest things this book has in sense of world building are magic systems. One of my favorite magic systems, for instance, is the witch one, where they hammer in specific materials into their skull and kinda into their brain, and that gives them the power to manipulate that one element, and it only functions on women. That's very neat. And it also has very obvious weaknesses, but also very obvious parallels to the witch burnings in Well, I know they were mostly hanged, but there are burnings of witches here that has historically happened, which motivates one of the characters who is a witch, who has a perception of the third book. I'm getting off track, but basically the witches are hunted down by a specific religion. Let's see, what was it called again? It was the Church of the One True Book. Yes, which is an obvious like parody of the colonial powers of Christianity, which roots out and murders heathens and means that their truth is the ultimate truth, and they're also a bunch of hypocrites, but like they are willing to go and get help from a liar in book 1, which is fun because he can lie anything into existence as long as he's just told the same lie to the same people. Fun. But the Church of the Book of Truth or whatever, they can unmake whatever they don't see as truth. Terrifying power. And also very much like how the Catholic Church has edited history. This book also consists of great twists. You know how when you read something or you watch a movie and you think, oh, if I was in that situation with those amounts of powers, I know that if I was in this book, I'd die. Then I would do this. This book is full of moments that are just like, oh, I would do this, and then they do the thing. It is very smart, actually. Instead of just going with easy answers, it actually reflects on itself and asks like, why do they not do this? And that's something they can actually do, so let's have them do that. Which is real fun. There's like a guy that can transform into animals, and I began wondering, wait, why can't you just transform into multiple animals? And then he explains that he starts losing more and more of his humanity the more he starts combining different beasts. That's so cool. Like, yeah. Second thing, something I think I've already spoken a little bit about when it comes to just a story. It's so interwoven. I say that it's basically about the Black Swan wanting to stop the dragon apocalypse, and when you start reading it and you see that everything feeds into everything else, you start to understand that, oh, yeah, actually this is all very well planned. Every sentence has like meaning that you can put into later. There's characters you wouldn't believe would appear in every other book. There's characters who are mentioned in one book and then comes up in the next one. There are characters who die in book 1 who appears in book 2. Yeah, that was the one. It's just full of fun stuff like that. But then again, this is where the problems begin to come. So the first issue that I actually have with this book is that although it's very nice to see that everything is so carefully planned out and done so well, it also makes the book extremely tiresome to read. I could not sit through like more than 3 chapters a day. It was so tiresome, like not in one stretch anyways. I just one chapter, break, one chapter, break. It was incredibly engaging, but I needed to constantly give breaks away from it. Just so full of information. There's no dead time. It's just info, and that's kind of my biggest issue with the book. But I also have like another issue, and that's that it's very bad at LGBT representation. It has like a lesbian character that dies very quickly, and the fact that she's a lesbian doesn't really add anything to the story. You got Sorrow. Oh, this book has weird names, by the way, just as a heads up. Sorrow seemed to be asexual, but no, we landed on the classic, oh, she just hasn't found the right man yet. Which, you know, that sucks. You got some character that's transgendered, or kinda not, I don't know. It's kinda not made well enough. James Maxey definitely tries though. He just hasn't read well enough up on all this, how to do positive LGBT representation. He tries, but he doesn't have the groundwork to actually understand it. So, James Maxey, if you're watching this, and why shouldn't you? If you read up on that, I have huge hopes for your writing, because apart from those 2 issues, this book is amazing. You got death by self-cannibalism in this book. Amazing concepts, great characters that are just so multi-layered and fun. You know that thing I said in the Lord of the Rings review where, to know what a character is good, if a character is good, you have to know how they would react in any given situation, like if they were at a bake-off. Not only could I tell you what cake they made and how they would react to the situation, I would tell you how well they did. But I won't go into those details, because basically the cake would also change over the course of the books, because these characters change like real people do. And if you, James Maxey, just put a little bit more effort, you can change for the better yet again. And you're already pretty good, so you don't have that much road to go.
Add more lesbians. We need more man babies complaining about forced diversity.
Yes.
And thinking that including people with different tastes is political somehow.
There's only 2 genders, there's man and political. Anyways, I will also just say that if you're a fantasy fan and you want to read something good, unlike Lord of the Rings, read Dragon Apocalypse by James Maxey. It was really fun, and I really hope that more people will sit down and read this. Anyways, that's my opinion. Read whatever you want. Till next time.